Hello guys, how's everyone doing today? We are on the third week of January and so much has happened and yet nothing at all. And what I mean by that is just the energy. The energy feels rushed with like no time to breathe, but at the same time the days are slow, so they feel like prolonged and like just stagnant. So it's that feeling of like hurriness and also like just pause, like nothing. But I wanted to come on here because I shared in my stories what were your thoughts on me doing a video on self-advocacy. And I got responses, and so here I am today doing a video. I was gonna do it anyway, but it helps, like I said before in the past, that any type of engagement from you guys is truly I see it, right? I see it and I listen to it and I read it and I digest it and then I go on from there. And so it helps for me when it comes to making videos, because that way I don't waste my time talking about certain videos that may not have that much relatability. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about. And here I go. So the reason why I want to talk about self-advocacy is because it's something that we all do, but don't necessarily pay attention when we're doing it, or remember to do it as often, or even forget that we are the only ones that can advocate for ourselves. At least when it comes to our needs and our wants, only we know that. Like, we can tell other people that we want or need certain things, but they would never have known that had you not said it, if that makes sense. And so this topic is actually coming from a place right now where I'm at. I'm in a vulnerable mental state. And the reason I'm sharing that is because it's an old trigger. It's an old experience, an old trauma experience that I have experienced way back in my childhood. And I re-experienced it again through my children 2 years ago, and I got re-triggered again last week. And so I wanted to touch base on this because I'm realizing now that there are certain triggers that affect me so bad to the point that it just leaves me so drained and so tired and filled with crippling anxiety. And even though I know in the present moment, right, like right in front of me, nothing is happening, everything is good, everyone is safe, I'm in one piece, like I am aware of my presentness, it affects me internally. And it's kind of overwhelming, it's kind of frustrating, it's frustrating, because just when you think you're healing from it, just when you think like, okay, I can put this topic to rest, boom, a trigger pops up, and it's from certain people that have been the reason for it, right? And so I was talking to two people and from different perspectives. One was a woman, one was a man. And the woman, she knew more about the situation. So, because she also understood where I was coming from. And so the way she pretty much ended up uplifting me was by reminding me that at the end of the day, I shouldn't have to apologize. I shouldn't have to ask for permission when it comes to advocating for myself and as a mother for my children. And I've been very outspoken about that. I've been very outspoken about, at least for the people that know me in person, in real life, they know I'm that mama bear. They know that there's nothing that you can do to calm me down, to make or silence me when it comes to my children. And then it made me think about myself too. And I love that she reminded me about this, because this is what I'm talking about when it comes to reaching out to someone that you trust, when it comes to confiding in someone in general, because you're not necessarily hoping for them to give you advice or to tell you what to do. You're just hoping that they can uplift you in the best way they know how and the best way that they know you. So the more that person that you confide in knows about you, in a way, it's good, because they'll know exactly how to word it for you so you understand it and feel better from it. And so this woman, the way she was talking to me was very relatable. It was very moving. It was a moment of us grieving our childhood, but at the same time, this woman was able to focus on me, focus on the issue at hand. And while also being, how can I say, neutral about it, she reminded me of that, you know, I am me, right? No one can advocate for me but me. And if other people don't know that, don't know what I want or don't want, or they forgot and I haven't reminded them, how can I expect any change, right? At least that's how I took it. And so, and then talking to the man, I didn't tell him anything about the actual situation. I just told them, hey, I'm going through it. It's one of those days that, and honestly, like, I don't even know why I'm telling you this. I don't even know why I'm telling you that I'm down, but you know, you asked, so here I am. And his response, again, was the same. He didn't know the situation that triggered me, but he also found a way to uplift me, to remind me that I do come first, that I need to put my mental health first, and I need to get out there and just make time for me, you know? And it's not that I don't have the opportunity to do that. I could do that, but I forget, you know, it's, you know, if we're going to go with excuses, it's winter. I don't like the winter. I don't like going outside when it's cold. And, you know, I'm just too busy being at home, right? Doing my day-to-day things. So when it comes to me time, it's like, I'd rather just rest and watch TV forever, right? But he reminded me that that's okay. Sometimes that is needed. Sometimes it's okay to take those breaks. Just don't do it too long, but just do what helps you, do what will help uplift you, especially when you're down and you're just not feeling it. And so these two people reminded me of my worth, reminded me of self-advocacy, reminded me that I should not have to apologize for it. And that's my reminder to you. Just like you would go to your doctor and advocate for yourself, like, hey, I'm going through this, and the doctor diagnoses you with something, but you don't think it's not because you just know it's something else. You have to advocate for that, right? Because the doctor is there to serve you, not you serve them. They serve you. So you have to be like, no, I don't want to do this. Can we find an alternate route? And the same goes for real life things. You might have gone through something or are going through something, and there are just certain people that can't be in your life right now, and you just don't want to explain why. You just don't want them in your life right now. And so you have to say it. You have to be like, hey, I'm going through something right now. I don't have time for you, and therefore I'll reach out when I'm in better spirits. And then there's also people who have been the reason for your trigger, who have caused the trigger, who have inflicted that. And even though you have reminded them of that, they seem to forget each time. And so it gets to a point where, because, you know, I'll be the first to say that I'm a people pleaser in my own way. I don't think I am right out away, but when I look back at my behaviors and who I in my relationships, I tend to please in a way that, let's say, for example, I'll take the most basic example. I'm just making this up. Let's say a loved one wants to go to get ice cream, but I don't want ice cream because it upsets my stomach. But I go anyway and eat the ice cream because I want to make that person feel better and enjoy it with them and do what they like to do. So even though it's not benefiting me, even though I don't like it, even though I don't want to do it, I go ahead and please and put my needs and desires aside because I want to make someone else feel good, just so I can be around them. So that's kind of what has happened, but in a way of respect. I have respect for this person. I can see the good qualities in them, but their behaviors, their actions have not added up to the way that I actually see them. And because I have wanted to maintain the peace, even though you'll hear a lot of people, don't worry about it, don't get into it, don't waste your energy, don't let them take your power away. I'm one of them, I'll say it. It's not even about that, Sometimes protecting your peace means advocating, means standing up and saying, I've had enough. This is where it stops. If you forgot, I'm here to remind you, but I'm not going to remind you again, because after this reminder, there will be no more reminders. It will be everybody goes their separate ways, and that's that. And it sucks because you don't, the one going through it as I am right now, you don't want to come off as harsh. You don't want to be wasting your energy going over a topic that was already discussed. You don't want to create tension or a weird energy around that person or persons. So what you do is you just stay quiet. So you let it build up, you let it build up, you let it build up to the point that the moment that it reminds you of that trigger or something happens that triggers that trigger, you explode, right? You explode. And then even though you were in your right the whole time, to lose your shit, you lost your shit. And that's when you're like, freak, I cannot believe I let myself be drained or allowed myself to give away my power to something or someone that didn't deserve it. And that's where self-advocacy comes from. Self-advocacy may not always be fun to discuss. Self-advocacy may be one of the hardest things to do. And with my project, it's kind of all about that. I advocate for mental health, and I want to, and I am creating visibility of trauma survivors through storytelling. And it's only right for me to talk about this subject, because if I'm able to advocate for others, why can't I do it for me? Why when it comes to me, it's hard for me to stand up and not feel bad about it? Because if you're standing up for yourself and you're standing up for something that you believe in, if you're standing up for something that is part of your healing, right? And it's making you a better person, why are you feeling guilty about it? Why are you asking for permission? Why are you even feeling some type of way when it's about you? And that's what made me think about that. It made me think that I'm out here advocating for everybody. I'm advocating for people that I don't know. I'm advocating for people that I do know. I'm advocating for my children, for my family, for my friends. But what about me? And I already took care of the situation, at least part one of it. And it felt freeing. It felt good. It felt good to know that I took that step for me. Because something else that I learned with this experience was that be careful who you reach out to. Not because they're gonna go and run with it, but because you may be expecting a certain type of response that you may just not get from that person. And it's not because they don't understand. It's not because they don't want to understand. It's just they don't know how to provide what you need at that moment. And therefore, it ends up being like a waste of time, because it wasn't what you're looking for. So there's several things when it comes to self-advocacy. Don't apologize. Don't ask for permission. Recalibrate your thoughts before firing away. Telling you from experience. Plan to execute. So, for example, like I said, I already did step one of what I needed to do in order to start creating that change. And I'm ready for part 2, and hopefully there won't be a part 3. So that's what I mean. Plan the steps before executing, because then you'll be prepared. And you'll know exactly what to say. You'll know exactly what to do. So then the next step would be Be prepared. Don't be prepared. Don't come into the situation with expectations. So after you've done all the planning, don't and you're in the moment of facing it, don't come with the expectations that you may have in order for you to move on or have everything settled down, right? Because most of the time we may have the best interest to make everything better again and to have everything go back to normal, or we may have the expectation that once we open up about our feelings and how we feel about that person, that they'll understand. But most of the time it doesn't go that way. And if you go into that mentality that you're gonna get what you want, I'm telling you, red flag, retrieve, don't do it, because it's only gonna hurt you more. I'm practicing that. Expectations are a killer. The word expectation in itself is a tricky one, because I believe everyone should have standards for what suits them best, but not expectations to the point that you're blocking yourself from an opportunity or a relationship, preventing from something from happening, or ignoring all the red flags when they were right in front of you, right? So that's the next step. Pretty much don't come with expectations. And then I wanted to say, always advocate for you. That's pretty much it. The word itself is pretty basic. You advocate, speak up, because no one can do it for you. No one, no matter who knows you the best, not even your own parents can advocate for you the way that you can. And the more you let that boil up inside of you, the more nasty emotions and energy are gonna build up within you. And I'm sure that if you're watching this video right now, that's not who you are. You are not that darkness that you carry, like it's part of you. Everybody has a light side and a dark side, right? However, I truly believe that as humans, we're not purposely out there to show off our darkness, right? To show off that ugly side that we don't like to show. And I'm learning with you. There's people who have seen me at my lowest. There's people who have seen me at my worst character. And I don't like that. I'm not in that point of life right now. I'm trying to rebuild myself up. And with rebuilding comes setting boundaries. That's what I wanted to say, setting boundaries. Self-advocate means setting boundaries. Boundaries with everyone. Boundaries with yourself, boundaries with your children, boundaries with your parents, boundaries with family members, friends, even strangers. Boundaries. They should be respected. And the moment that they're not respected, you should remind them if that relationship matters to you. And if not, bye-bye. So with that being said, my beautiful people, my beautiful ladies, or any gentlemen that are watching, thank you for taking the time to listen. I hope you got something out of it. And love you guys.